Hello and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show. Hope you are well on this Saturday. Alan Finn back with you here again at Boyles of Killorglin with our gardening expert Miguel. Miguel, we're here in amongst some fine shrubbery.
We are in the middle of our shady plants area.
We're in the shady area. Is this the dodgy part? The dodgy part. This is where you hang out.
You shouldn't come here without protection.
It's okay. I've got my cameraman Dave as my protection.
He will protect you.
Yeah, we're good.
100%.
So listen, we were kind of touching it on last week's show when we were talking about some of the perennials, about plants that can grow in shady areas, and we said we will do a show. So here we are. We are down here. We've got lots of foliage and a bit of colour as well too. So let's tell the listeners what exactly we're going to talk about.
What happened last week? A few minutes before the show, we were going to shoot about perennials. A gentleman came with a small video of a wall he was trying to. All right, I'm going to start all over again. He planted some ivies in a wall, and they were not doing well.
Okay.
And he showed me a small video, very handy. If you take pictures of a small video, like
bring it into the garden centre,
brilliant, because you've
got a good imagination.
Yeah, but not enough.
It's much better.
A lady just asked me about a plant with a red flower.
Okay.
If you knew what it was, I said no. So this gentleman come and show me the video, and the first thing I ask him is, "That's an English ivy?" I ask him, and he says yes. He says, "Is north facing or south facing that well?" He says, "South facing." He says, that's probably the reason that they're not performing well.
Okay.
They like deep shade.
Deep
shade is no sun.
Right.
No sun at all.
Okay.
Some varieties of ivies, they can do in full sun, partial shade. Some varieties of ivies can do only in full deep shade in north-facing walls.
Yeah.
This case was the opposite. The ivies were not doing well. It's very important.
Yeah. To make sure you're getting the right.
You want something, and if you want it, and I want this, and I want this, and you make the mistake.
Yeah.
And when you make that mistake, you spend money, time, effort.
Well, I'm sure that gentleman may have waited maybe a year or two in hope that it might actually catch and develop. So you're wasting valuable time.
Because it looks like a large wall, and it was a few plants there.
Okay.
So if one of them is €10 each, you're spending €100. It's not. It's just a few pints nowadays, but it's still painful. You know, because you were expecting to grow. Then you have to come back and buy more plants and
start again. Yeah, start again. Yeah.
So it's better planning. We always talk about planning. Mm-hmm. So what we consider deep shade in this case is no sun.
No sun.
Zero sun. So north-facing walls, under heavy canopies.
Yeah.
Conifer, and the conifer canopies, they are evergreen. You can find fully shade.
Yeah.
Then we have the moderate shade. Moderate shade is when you get 2 hours of sun.
Okay.
2 hours of sun, 1 hour and a half, and loads of light in the summer.
Okay.
Then partial shade, when you get between 2 and 3, so 2, 3, 4 hours of sun. 2 hours of sun is light shade or whatever shade. This partial shade is 3 to 6.
3 to 6 hours of sunlight. Okay.
From 6 is full sun.
Yeah, so you're only talking about half a day, really. Kind of, if the sun starts either shining at the east and it kind of has a west-facing wall, but then by the time it gets around,
it hits again.
Yeah.
So if you get 6 hours of sun or more, that's considered full sun.
Okay.
3 to 6 partial shade, 2 to 3 shady, and deep shade when it gets no sun.
Yeah.
So most of the plants can survive in the lower level. So if it's a full sun plant, could survive in partial shade, no problem. Most 95% of them. What will happen is they will never reach their full potential.
Okay.
In terms of foliage, growth, flowering, especially. But if you have a full sun geranium, 6 hours, if you get 4.5,
Yeah.
it will survive.
They will do well. Yeah, they will do all right. Yeah.
But you'll get, instead of 100 flowers, you'll get 85 flowers. You'll get different foliage, we'll have different needs. So what we need to do is, again, think before buying.
Yeah.
Okay. I bought a very nice Catra the first year I came here. I put it in the wrong place. I told you that story. I swapped it to a ericaceous compost, lost all the leaves. But in the next year, I put it in a sunny area, and it was mangled. I put it in a shady spot. So I've been trying and error.
Trying everything. Yeah.
Then you start doing some research yourself about acer trees, and then there's you said that like I was killing the poor plant.
Yeah.
It's very nice, but it's not bad. You can make mistakes, but now we have plenty of information.
Yeah, and I guess that's the thing. You guys who are here doing it at the forefront in all the garden centres, you have the expertise and information. You always talk about all the different things you try, and that's how kind of learn. And I'm sure there's plenty of experienced gardeners out there, but I guess it's like that gentleman who came in here. There's probably a lot of inexperienced gardeners out there who are like going, that area now is just nothing ever grows in it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And they come into you and so the options then there's plenty.
So your mistakes will be probably because you like a plant so much and you want to have
it front and center, or in a good
and you
spot.
want to have it in the front of your house when you see it from the window.
Yeah.
And that plant is not going to perform there. So, or is the someone that tells you that's the quick, it grows very quick, it grows very well and you buy that plant because it grows very well in
someone else's garden.
Someone else that lives in Tipperary.
Or has a south-facing garden, or a north-facing garden, whatever, the opposite of what you actually have.
So, but anyway, you have plenty of choices to go and play with shade. We're gonna focus in shade, we're gonna forget about full-sun plants, and we're gonna focus in shade. There's plenty of people that come to the garden center now these days asking for window boxes, hanging baskets, or pots for places that are north facing.
Okay.
And they have tried before asking, and they come and they say nothing grows there. I have tried petunias, I have tried geraniums, I have tried lobelias, and they grow, but they don't flower well. You should try something different.
Okay.
What do you need to try in very shady areas? You need to try Bacillices. You need to try New Guinea impatiens.
The impatiens, we feature these on a show before. Also, you've got some begonias here as well. But
begonias and Bacillices are very good for shade.
Okay.
They will give you a spectacular flowering if you have them in your hanging baskets north facing.
Yeah.
Then on the opposite side, if you have it in a very sunny spot, even you could see in the impatiens not only poor flowering, but it bleaches.
The leaves the leaves are kind of bleached and burnt. So that's actually too much. That's exposure to too much sun.
Too much sun can bleach the leaves. Okay.
Right.
So what they want, what they like,
they're
is
looking
shade.
for in between.
They're looking for shade. They can get a little bit of sun.
I guess to be honest with you, Miguel, what a lot of people would happen, and I would kind of think that as well, is that when you see colourful plants, colourful flowers, you think they must be getting that from the sun, so they might need. And I guess that's the mistake that people will kind of make, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
One of them
is that you see something in your neighbors, or when you're going somewhere and you stay in a hotel, and you think that you can
transplant that into your
same idea into your garden, and that cannot be necessarily working.
Okay.
But that's letting you know that you have plenty of options, even in North Face, for having nice summer color. Okay.
To brighten it up, because obviously that's what you want.
Geraniums can do in a light shade.
Okay.
So if you want to have a centerpiece rather than the New Guinea, you can use a geranium. But you can use begonias and Bacillices are spectacular flowering.
Lovely, yeah.
Then we jump from annuals to perennials. We have plenty of plants that are, the bleeding hearts. We have a bleeding heart here in white, but it's another bleeding heart more famous that is in pink,
Okay.
We saw it in one of the shows in early spring because they
Okay.
flower in early spring.
In early spring, right?
Those plants, they like what we call this, how did we call it? Not
Moderate.
partial shade.
Moderate
is
shade?
Moderate shade.
Yeah.
That's the word. Moderate shade, so they can get a couple hours of sun, even no sun, just light. You have in mind that even if it's not full, if it's 2 hours of sun, it will be another 2 hours or 3 hours that they have plenty of light.
Okay, light, yeah.
So when we have a shady garden or a shady area in the garden, that we have been trying certain things that don't work is probably because it's not the right plant again. It's hostas. It's acer trees. If you want,
Yeah, there's a lovely kind of a Japanese kind of maple.
Japanese maples like shade. They don't like, what they don't like is wind.
Wind, yes.
They can take even full sun here, some varieties, if it is not windy. But it's a very nice plant for shady gardens. For shady, if you have an avenue with long trees, with big trees that shade,
Yeah.
you can use these.
These can kind of
on
go
the
as an
sides,
underneath it.
underneath.
Okay, right.
They're very cool. I've been in places. They're very, very cool with those. You find something is amazing in the less expected area. We have here Australian ferns, Dixonia antarctica, smaller versions of the big
huge
tree
ferns. Yeah, the tree
right?
ferns, yeah.
They grow under the big eucalyptus in New Zealand and Australia, and they are full shade plants.
Okay.
They can tolerate sun. They will prefer being in a very shady area with 1 or 2 hours of sun.
Okay.
They are
See them in a lot of
long-term-
woods. You'd see them in a lot of woods and stuff like that, wouldn't you?
Under woodlands,
in
yeah,
woodlands
exactly.
areas,
In
and forests.
woodlands, they are very, very interesting plants. Don't forget to cover them. You have to wrap the crown.
Oh,
when you
yes.
have a large tree, if you have a large fern tree at home, in the winter when it's going to be cold, you need to wrap 1/3 at least of the tree,
Okay.
protecting the top, the
Yeah.
crown, the top of the crown. Especially if you cannot wrap it around, just put some straw or something to protect and wrap the sides.
Okay.
The fronts can die, but
But you need
the
the
tree
main
will
crown.
survive. All
Yeah,
right, so they are not meant to be in -5, -7. So it could be happening that you lose the tree for cold, but they like shade.
Okay.
We have plenty of climbing plants that like shade. We have a hydrangea. We can talk about hydrangeas one of these days.
Yeah.
Anomala petiolaris. That's a climbing hydrangea.
Okay.
They like zero sun.
Zero?
They
Wow.
can go in zero sun.
Yeah.
They can go with a little bit of sun.
Okay.
They don't like full sun. Do you look at the tender? They're very tender
Yeah, I
leaves.
suppose
They're
that's it. They're
tender
very
leaves.
sensitive. They're very sensitive.
They
to
need
kind of
loads
thing.
of water.
Okay.
They get dry very easily.
Right. Yeah.
So they need wet,
Wet kind of areas. And if
Wet,
you have
dry-
one of those,
wet,
if
shady.
you have one of those areas as well too in your garden that's quite damp, or a lot of rain that kind of runs off the bottom of the garden, those sort of
Some
areas
plants
can
for
be
that.
ideal
Yeah.
for that.
Some
Ideal for
plants that
yeah.
are good for these soggy places that they like. Calla lilies, these fellas. Look at this, fuchsias.
Okay.
All right, did you know that fuchsias can grow in shade or partial shade?
No, but I think
do
about it.
well.
I think an aunt of mine had one at the side of her house, and I remember it always being in great colour. But it was a very shady area. Now that I think of it,
They
yeah.
do well in shade. So if you like this hedging that you see in West Cork and West Kerry here,
Yeah.
of these spectacular fuchsias hedging, those plants are yours. If it's in a shady area, that's your call.
Okay.
The cartoni fuchsias, they can do very well in shade. You'll have that beautiful.
The red and
That's
purple. It's
those flowers are mind blowing.
They're beautiful. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is a beautiful,
beautiful
plant.
plants.
Yeah.
Are amazing
When they
plants
mature.
with so many different colors and the bells and whites, and
Yeah.
so they are.
That's a great
all
option.
Great option for
Yeah,
shade.
great option.
Look at this. We were talking the other day about these perennials that are good in that come from cold areas.
Cold
that
areas,
perform
yeah, the
better.
Siberian.
So that's a
iris.
peony rose.
Okay.
Peony rose about to
Oh, right.
open
Yeah.
a flower. Those become a large to 5-6 feet wide bush. They like shade as well.
Okay.
They like cold winters.
Right.
I have seen in Granada, in my hometown, it's very cold in the winter.
Yeah.
Well, my hometown is Motril, is very warm, but the capital of the province is cold in the winter, is the Sierra there. And they grow now, in a month ago or something like that, I was there. And it was one already in full bloom, like 2 meters wide. Amazing plants for shade, amazing. You have
IVs.
plenty of plants that they would
Now this
prefer.
again, I do always love this one. I always say it. The stilbies. So are these a moderate shade, a partial shade?
Partial
type?
shade.
So partial shade. Okay,
Partial
so
shade. This
couple
is
of hours.
Fanal.
The finale.
Fanal.
Oh, finale.
That's
Okay.
the fanal. That's
trouble with the finale.
Awarded by the Royal Horticultural Society or Chelsea Show or something like that.
Okay.
One of the most beautiful red astilbes that you're gonna find in your life. And if you can combine with some pink or something, purple pink with this red, and it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plant.
Wow.
Partial shade.
Yeah.
Aquileias.
Yeah, the Aquileias I have here as well too, which are very colourful. Again, another beautiful,
Full
beautiful
shade.
plant. Full shade.
That can grow in
Wow.
full shade with no direct sun, some decent light, like the Dicentra. Remember that plants that are meant to be in one stage, they can go down.
They can go down a stage, yeah. So if they're supposed to be
it's a very shady
in light
area,
shade, it can
if
go
it
to moderate.
gets a few rays of sun and
Yeah.
a good amount of light, they can survive.
Yeah.
But the Dicentra, I have seen them in full shade in woodlands,
Yeah.
growing like mad.
Okay.
That height with flowers hanging like I
Just
want that.
beautiful, yeah,
I
yeah.
want that. That's what happens.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want
yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
you bring it
Put
there
it
to
to
your
your
garden in
area
a
and it
sunny
doesn't
area,
work.
and it doesn't work. Okay.
So it's great, and there's, as I said, for all the different parts, because everyone's garden, you know, we all have different things. Like, be it an experienced, cultivated garden over years, maybe there's a lot of stuff that has grown up high. These are little fillers that can kind of even just go in if they're underneath all these
but
shady
it's
areas.
not only fillers, it's plenty of fruit trees that can perform in shade or partial shade, like pear trees, acid cherry trees. The acid cherries, they don't need the amount of sun that the regular cherries, so you can grow them in partial shade. Blackberries.
Okay.
Blackberries are wonderful if you have a full shade. Blackberries can grow in full shade.
Okay.
But blackcurrant, some other plants
other
that
ones
can grow.
they do.
Rhubarb.
Yeah.
Rhubarb likes full shade as well. And plenty of trees, carpinus. So if you
There's-
have trees, it's
so much-
it's a plant for everything.
There's a plant, yeah.
It's not only perennials, it's evergreens, it's trees, it's fruit trees, it's a little
Herbs
bit
as
of
well
everything.
too, as you say,
Herbs,
yeah,
herbs
yeah.
that prefer
So
mint.
so again, like we said, man at the start came in with a phone, with a video. Things like that can be very helpful. Find out, you know, yourself, where does the sun set, where's the sun rise. You can work out then east, west, what way your walls are facing. Come into you guys, tell them what they've got, show them what they've got, and we can find a beautiful for everyone.
One thing, before I forget, we can find the right plant for you in terms of shade, in terms of light, but we cannot make plants stop growing, all right, or start growing.
Right.
So
Some of them can
don't
be a little bit-
don't have expectations in terms of I want this.
Yeah.
I want this. I want a plant that won't grow more than a foot, that flowers all year round, that is good for shade, that is good for sun, that has purple flowers and white flowers.
It sounds like the perfect
So
plant.
be realistic.
Yeah,
that they
temper your
are
expectations.
alive.
Yeah.
They are not
They're
artificial
not dead.
plants.
Yeah.
So they will perform better in certain places, but you cannot expect miracles.
Miracles.
Okay?
Okay. Right. Well, there's some good advice from Miguel yet again. Don't expect miracles here on the Garden Show. And look, again, if you have a shady area, plenty of things to think about and lots of options, which is always very good. Miguel, as always, thank you very much. From all of us here in Boyles and Killorglin, that is it until next week. And until then, happy gardening.